let's Google anorexia and its detrimental health effects on the human body. It's got to be horrific. Because I know weight cutting is fucking absolutely brutal for these fighters, but that's severe dehydration, which is not quite the same thing. But they get real thin before they do that a lot of times. At least they used to. Guys are getting better at cutting just all the water out now.
Oh yeah. Well, I remember when I never got to see it up close till we went to Fight Week, and then I was like, oh damn, like you gotta leave these motherfuckers alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the day before, they
so tired.
look like somebody just rescued them from something.
Well, they did. They rescued him from death. They legitimately are at death's door. Okay, this is complications of anorexia include anemia, heart problems such as mitral valve prolapse, abnormal heart rhythms or heart failure, bone loss, osteoporosis, increasing the risk of fractures, loss of muscle in females, absence of period, in males, decreased testosterone, gastrointestinal problems such as constipation, bloating, or nausea, electrolyte abnormalities such as low blood potassium, sodium and chloride, and kidney problems. Here's a question. What's the ratio of men with anorexia versus women? And how many of the men who have anorexia are gay men?
I mean, it might be a problem, but
I bet it's very few men have anorexia.
But I think that's starting to change, right? Because right now,
People are non-binary.
but right now, Pete Davidson is a sex symbol. Pete Davidson and Machine Gun Kelly, like young white women love the sick looking,
Sort of.
like the real malnourished looking guys.
Sort of, until Jason Momoa shows up.
Well, right. Well, yeah. But what I'm saying is,
and then your eggs start talking.
what I'm saying is, more guys don't mind because men do what gets them laid.
Yes.
And so it's like that's all. That's why it's not very many anorexic men
Yeah, but they're not going to try that hard
to stop eating.
anorexia.
I bet you a lot of men in the model industry are probably anorexic.
I would think they would have to be fit.
Because all well they do, but you don't have to look like her to be anorexic.
Yeah, the research I'm trying to find just says there's a problem. There is a lot of it's just a general eating disorder.
Right.
Is big in men. Going to anorexia is I think it's tough to find.
Well, overeating's probably bigger in men.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was even finding. The first study, they had double the amount of women responded even, but it's twice as many men said they had an eating disorder than women.
Right, but
in
that
this
just could
study.
be they're addicted to eating food.
Correct. Most of it's overeating.
So they don't have data on just anorexia?
I'm trying to find it, and then I have not located it.
Why don't you Google how many men have anorexia? Just Google that. I'm curious just what the number is.
I bet you it's surprisingly low.
Well, it says
20.
percentage of anorexics are 25% are men.
A quarter of
Okay.
anorexics are men.
10 to 25%.
Okay.
That's higher than what I
That's,
guess.
that's higher than I would think. But what's the number of total anorexics?
I don't. I mean,
You say 10 to 25% are men? Is that what you said?
saying, yeah. But,
Do they have to self-report?
That's
you get
yeah,
below
I
80
mean,
pounds. You have
yeah,
to
that's how they would
report?
have to know. You'd have to go get help for them to find out. So it's cites 20 million women and 10 million men have an eating disorder. Males make up 25% of people with anorexia.
25%. Wow.
Because they're often diagnosed later than females, they are at a higher risk of dying.
Ooh.
Well, I think that's probably true of every disease.
Yeah.
It also says it's not common in people over the age of 40.
Interesting. So it's only common when you want someone to fuck you.
Yeah. I think it's probably just common when like the most young, impressionable. Because once you're over 40, you're like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get to the I don't give a fuck 40s. Because there's nothing sadder than someone who's like in their 60s and still gives a fuck.
Yeah, dude. It's like you wasting. That's the only benefit.
Yeah, the only benefit.
This also adds for men are likely underdiagnosed with eating disorders because clinical assessment tools emphasize a desire to lose weight as opposed to building muscle. So they might not. I mean, I guess they're asking a bunch of questions, and they might not ask guys the right questions, maybe either. Women have a 1.5 to 7.5 to 3 times higher prevalence for anorexia bulimia, Bulimia might be more prevalent.
Okay, so wait a minute. What's the difference between bulimia and anorexia?
Bulimia, you throw up your
Yeah,
food. You
that's
eat and then you throw it up.
Okay, that's why I was talking about the damaged esophagus.
Yes.
Okay, and anorexia is just you don't eat.
Anorexia is just you don't eat at all.
Oh wow.
But I bet some people have both.
Eating
Yeah.
disorder.
Well, I think if you have bulimia, you probably die sooner.
Yeah, that's also so. Men are 3 times more likely than women to have a sub-threshold BED, which would be eating disorder, meaning it's significant but does not meet all criteria for an official diagnosis.
Yeah, overeating.
Because throwing up all the time.
And lastly,
'Cause, you know, severe alcoholics get that.
What's the lastly?
50 to 80% of anorexia is genetic,
Whoa.
and it's the deadliest mental disease.
Whoa.
Anorexia nervosa.
1 in 5 is a suicide death.
The risk of death in anorexia is more than double the death rate of schizophrenia,
Holy shit.
almost triple the death rate of bipolar disease, and more than triple the death rate due to depression. Wow. The crazy thing is maybe 80% of it is genetic.
Yeah.
That's the wild thing, man.
See, bro, that's the thing is like a lot of times you got to get healthy enough to get healthy. You know, like once you got to the point where like enough shit is broken, you know, it's like trying to drive a car that needs a lot of work. You know, it's like you have to fix all this other stuff before you can even get to driving. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
That's a lot of work, too, to get past that.
yeah. Once you hit the point where more than one thing's wrong, you got
Also, if
some
it's
hard choices.
genetic, like what are your genes telling you? Like I wonder, that's what's interesting is like, does that mean that it's prevalent in multiple family members? And is that because of like some other shit?
Well, yeah, you probably are predisposed to it, but then something in your environment has to trigger it. Yeah.
Maybe. Or is it possible that what we're calling genetic is just the same environmental stimuli, the same shitty, abusive family life, or whatever it is, and it just like transfers down from generation to generation?